Hi there, welcome to I Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Cancer energy, and I'm just kind of having a hard time shuffling my deck because these cards aren't the same size. Okay, we're going to take out a clump of these that came out. I kind of mixed a Kipper deck and I believe it's like a Lenormand style deck, but we're just going to read it like a kind of a regular Kipper deck. And we're going to see what's going on in Cancer energy. Okay. So, we're going to look at this as the overarching reason for the reading, which says wedding. Which, needless, not everybody's getting married, but wedding can be, coming together with people and kind of, what you align with within yourself and who you align with in your world. And everybody's going to think it's a good idea whoever they do that with. If it is or not, we don't know yet, because why do people do what they do? Why do they align with certain people? It's kind of like you could be married to your shadow nature, and your shadow nature kind of runs your life, or you align with your high vibe nature, and your high vibe nature runs your life. Some people could be getting married, some people could meet someone that they would like to marry. Okay, what else, though? That's kind of the overarching reason for the reading, which is kind of, I'm going to look at it more as who we align with. At the center of the reading, we have the Servant card. Well, in a more shadowy relationship, someone does think they should be more indulged. And for some people, that could be why they align with certain people, if those people will indulge them. You could even look at high vibe energy, the wedding. You could kind of correlate that to the Hierophant. Hierophant is being a spiritual leader in the world, kind of being aligned with the divine and being a servant of the divine. What do you want me to do, God? Okay, so we start out with a card not showing itself, and it is the Sorrow card in reverse and not showing itself. So there could be some people in the world who might want to get in relationship with some people, but with this card not showing itself, people, all sorts of different people can try to be kind of coming into alignment with different people. But some of the people they might think they want to come in alignment with, they might think that some of those people are still like sad. I think that person's sad. I'm going to go try to get in a relationship with them. And then we have the butterfly. It has a picture of a butterfly, but it says frivolity, which, if people don't harness it right, it's a shadowy energy of being immature, like a player. And then we have the gift. So, some people purposely look for people who they think are sad so that they can, like, they want to seem like a Hierophant in someone's life. Like, you should look to me as God in your life, and you should indulge me, and you should view me as a gift in your life. I might have status or image or attractive or social clout or whatever. And then they hope that if people get in a relationship with them, that because those people could have some of those things of the world that people can like, which can just be you have stability, you are charming, you're stable, grounded, that people will want to indulge them in a relationship. And that's what some people could be doing right now. But if some of those people, I'm kind of looking at the frivolity butterfly card as like a Knight of Wands card. If some people do that, they're going to find out that some of the people in their life, some of them, aren't, they've worked through their regrets of the past. They were high vibe Sagittarius, inspired to accept that gift from the universe, to love and believe in themselves. And some people find out, oh shit, you're not sad, so you're not going to indulge me and get in a relationship with me more just because you're sad. Oh, and then when some of the people were in relationships with people, if they did do this work to work through some of their past pain and heartbreak, then some of their people in their life didn't want to be in a relationship with them anymore because they want to be in relationships, with people who haven't worked through some of their past pain and heartbreak because they probably haven't either. So then we have wife, servant, letter. Yeah. So the feminine figures, the way I read tarot, is how we think and feel. And the wife, with this card, one child there, high vibe people have learned to love themselves and they've learned to love their own inner child nature. They are inspired to accept kind of this gift of life. I have the free will. I can belittle and berate myself. I can be more immature. I can be stubborn, prideful, egotistical, make my life about all these different things in the world, but they maybe learn some lessons in life that I don't want to indulge my more immature nature. I want to grow and mature myself. And so we offer love to ourselves and try to inspire other people. And with the wedding card also seeming like the Hierophant, to kind of grow up and be someone who feels proud of yourself, that, learn these lessons in life. We've all been more immature. We've all been more caught up in ourself and the ego and the image and things we wanted to go indulge in. But there comes a point in time where, I am ready to grow up and mature myself. And I'm ready to kind of not be more immature. And I aspire to grow up and mature myself. And then when we grow up and mature ourselves, then we're people who maybe would communicate with the letter card to some other people in our life that, I might have been more immature or whatever at some point in time, but I worked through those issues and now I have grown up and matured myself. And then kind of communicating maybe to people in the world to try to find people who are kind of more on the same page as them, being a shadowy mother to ourselves, because all the cards can have a more high vibe energy and way people can relate to them, or are more worldly or more shadowy. We can be a bad mother to ourselves where we do indulge our more immature nature. And we end up kind of being a slave. And then the Hierophant can represent our more worldly, shadowy nature of our ego and our pride and our lust and our greed. Like, look at me and look at how I'm living life. And then we kind of indulge our more immature nature. And, it's kind of like when one or the other is in the driver's seat of our life, either our more shadowy nature or our more high vibe nature. And when our more shadowy nature is in the driver's seat of our life, it wants those things that we've been given that make us high vibe, our creative, inspired, intuitive, loving nature, kind of like trying to convince it, you should do things this way. But I kind of think as we get going here, our people's high vibe nature ends up telling them, no, I'm not going to do that. Those gifts that we were given, so we're not just like an animal or a computer, were given to us as a gift. Comes from the divine. And just like some people who are being more prideful, egotistical, stubborn, immature, self-indulgent, they're also going to have more high vibe people in their life tell them, yeah, no, I'm not moving forward with you. And just like high vibe people in their life tell them that, their more high vibe nature tells them, no, we're not investing in that. If you want to go do that, you're basically going to have to operate from the most base nature that a human being has to try to accomplish that. Because, like, your more creative, inspired, intuitive, loving aspects of self aren't going to invest in it. So, let's see what the rest of the story is. Melancholy, which can be about being sad. the prison, and the sweetheart. So, just like we have this free will within ourselves, if we let our more loving nature be in the driver's seat, our shadowy nature doesn't like it, but our shadow nature does want us to be more. Our shadow nature doesn't care if we end up in the gutters. It's gonna lick its fingers and say, "Damn, that was great." You know, but there's some people right now who are rejecting their more loving nature, and their loving nature is sad. And then people in their life who would like, could love them, whether it's friends or family members, they could kind of be sad too that some people are taking immature action. And if people are in a more romantic relationship with them, some of those people could be sad because some people do want to seem to be more. And a shadowy emotional nature can be people who they kind of indulge themselves in different ways that they think is just and fair, and then they think other people should also indulge them in those ways. And some people are looking for like kind of a parent-child relationship. How about you be loving and nurturing and get in a relationship with me, maybe even marry me, and then, oh, by the way, then I'm going to act in these more shadowy ways. But because you love me and because you don't want to maybe get out of it, because in the Hierophant energy, you know, again, high vibe people actually love the other people and they'd like it to work out, and we can be manipulated by our more worldly nature, the ego, the stability, the security, what will people say? And there could be some people right now in the prison card, they're kind of stressed out because maybe someone they want to be in a relationship is telling them they don't want to be in a relationship, that they want to go do something else, be with someone else. Some high vibe people could be telling some other people, I think you want me to indulge you, and I don't really think it's equal give and take. And I think you expect me to indulge you in your more immature ways of being, male or female, friend or romantic. And I think the high vibe people have probably communicated that. And though they're sad, they're offering being inspired to offer love to it, to work through it, to keep working through being up in their head about it, to be in the energy of love, because love is what helps us work through it and free ourselves from things that imprison us. So then, at the end, we have the message card, the old woman, the widower, going distant horizons, kind of going on a journey, and mature man, which can be the masculine figures can represent how we present ourselves in the world. And I kind of view this like a King of Pentacles. And if we really are who we say we are, we do present ourselves in the world as a stable, grounded, emotionally mature, loving person, because we did invest in our more emotionally intuitive, loving nature to grow and mature it. And the thoughts card, with that being a masculine figure, reminds me of the King of Swords. We did it in truth and love, and our foundation is inspired to keep putting in work and effort to get the justice we deserve. So, we have the free will to give ourselves the things that we wish other people would have given us. There's no guarantees when we get in relationships with people. At any point in time during a relationship, we can get along for a long time, and then it can be, some people could be at that stage in a relationship where it's like, maybe I kind of got in a relationship, maybe because I didn't want to feel sad anymore. or, but I maybe hadn't worked through some of my regrets of the past. And I could have gotten in a relationship. Someone else could have gotten in a relationship with me. It seemed like probably a lot of things that were kind of compatible in our philosophy of life and things that we enjoyed doing. And we could have been loving and nurturing people to each other. But then there can come a time in the relationship where, is this really my truth? And is this how I still want to keep moving forward? And that's when, it's kind of like we helped each other through a phase of life, but then it's kind of thinking of the next phase of life. And maybe as time goes by, sometimes in relationships, people do get more caught up, and some people are more about the ego and the image and the status, and that's what's most important. And maybe the other people can kind of be sad because I feel like you're more about those things than really wanting to be in a relationship with me because of love. So, men or women with each other, uh, one person could be kind of stressed that I want these things too, but I also want to be in a relationship with someone who is inspired to keep kind of giving birth, with the woman with the baby there. We shed old layers of ourselves, and are inspired to shed old layers of ourselves to keep giving birth to new layers of ourselves. Just like we went from 15 to 18 to 21, and we shed some old ways of being to get justice in our life, to keep growing and maturing ourselves. And sometimes we can get in relationships with people, we can be in a relationship with them for quite a long time, and everything can seem to go pretty good until it gets to that point of, are you willing to look at some of the things that maybe should be let go of and kind of face our fears about going to that next stage of life, shedding an old layer of our fears and our insecurities and our defensiveness or our past pain and heartbreak, so we can keep giving birth to new things together and in this relationship. And some people are like really stressed out about doing something like that because they'd have to offer love to themselves to figure out why they don't want to. And it can just be, I never planned to live my life like this. This was my end goal. And we have these things. I'm good. We should stay here and just do this forever. And that's what some people with the old woman and the widower, you could just feel like we never go on this journey of, in the King of Pentacles, loving and nurturing ourselves to keep giving birth to something new within ourselves and in this relationship together. Just like there's all these infinite potentials of who we can be, and that's like the child. You can stay at a certain age or a certain way of living life all your life if you want to, but the potential for you to give birth to a more, kind of being a student of life. I have learned everything I needed to learn here. I'm going to face my fears of stepping outside my comfort zone, and I'm going to give birth to the next version of myself. And I'm going to offer love and encouragement to the people in my life to come with me. And then, just like you can get in a relationship and have a child, when two people come together in a relationship, that like creates a new energy, kind of like a child in a way, new energy in the world. And then in that relationship, you want to keep giving birth to new energies of that relationship kind of growing and maturing itself, right? But there's some people who don't want to do that and never had really planned to do that. And part of it could be because their foundation in the occupation card would have to put work and effort into working through why they decide not to do that. And sometimes that's when one person's like, nope, if you want to go do something different, you go do something different. I'm going to do this. And there could be some people that right now are going through something like that. And while one person is inspired to keep repeating a pattern, I don't want to do that. It might require me to love and believe in myself, stand up for myself, speak my truth. That could be the King of Pentacles and the King of Swords. To my own shadow nature, to other people in my life, believe in myself, feel more stable and grounded within myself, grow up and mature myself. And some people are like, I don't want to do that. The truth sets us free, but we have to be willing. In the courthouse card, and underneath that was the adjudication card, that, are we willing to hold ourselves accountable? And when we're in friendships and relationships with people, again, do we kind of think it should be more my way or the highway, or a little bit more about me? And for some people, it's just like how you want to move forward, what you want to give birth to, how you want to invest your time, energy, and effort, what you think is just and fair. We kind of could have been on the same page at one point in time, and then maybe as time goes by, we're kind of not on the same page. So, and the people who are working through this together, they are continuing to work with those people, want to keep working with those people, for their reasons, high vibe or low vibe. But regardless of what other people are doing, high vibe people are inspired to choose to align with their more hopeful, believing, loving nature. They deal with their regrets of the past. The what's that card say again? Prison kind of reminds me of like the 8 or 9 of Swords, about closing out a cycle, and to love themselves and to keep moving forward, not getting up in their head. Maybe with the old woman and the widower being afraid, like, uh, you know, it's kind of like, if I know what I was in and some of the things I didn't like, I'd rather live my life being a loving and encouraging person to myself and other people. And if that means that I'm going to, I would say they'd work through their fears and they would go on this journey. Then you could look at the King of Pentacles and the King of Swords as investing in truth and love, like the divine. And that's who I'm going to go on this journey with. And part of going on that journey is I work through my own fears and insecurities and self-limiting beliefs. And I believe that the divine wants us to get the justice we deserve in the world. And for some people, if that's not, you're definitely going to grow and mature yourself during this process. And I believe justice will go in your favor. If nothing else, you won't be in relationships with people who are immature, stressing you out, making you sad, being stubborn, being prideful, wanting to be indulged. Just like, I think I'll let you be in a relationship with someone else, and someone else can do that. And I think as you're moving forward in this energy, in your friendships or relationships, because some of the immature people could just be other people in your life, I think other people know that you could take more immature action. And there's some people that would kind of like to maybe be in a relationship with you, but they'd only want to be in a relationship with you if you were in shadowy energy. And so long as you keep being inspired to love and believe in yourself and walk the talk, kind of, and you're not going and taking action more out of codependency or fear or whatever, they won't be in a relationship with you. Because that's the kind of relationship they want to be in. And it's like, okay, well, you keep looking for someone like that, and I'm gonna go invest my time, energy, and effort. And it might be you're communicating with some people, with the old woman and the widower. You might be communicating to some people in your life that you almost view as like stagnant in a way. They never give birth to anything new. They can be young and vibrant, basically, but they're like old people. No, 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 we got to do things this way. We can't do anything different. No, this is the way my folks did it. This is the way my mom and dad did it. And you're kind of communicating to those people, if you want to keep repeating this old pattern, and that's your idea of the dream life, then you go ahead and do that. But that's not my truth, and I'm going to go on this journey, and I am going to put in work and effort to love myself, maintain balance within myself, be inspired within myself, put work and effort into my truth. And you can put work and effort into your truth. And maybe as some of you are moving forward in your life, and maybe you might have some new beginning. The Knight of Wands can be taking action, communicating. The Hierophant can represent all these different institutions in the world, friendship groups, organizations, workplaces, other people who are more on the same page as you. And as you move forward, and the King of Pentacles holding one pentacle, which is a new beginning, the King of Swords is holding a sword of a new beginning, closing out this old cycle, which maybe with the old woman and the widower feels like it's taking forever. But, it takes time and effort to reap a good harvest. So you keep putting in the work and effort, and I think you will be rewarded for your work and effort. And part of that, though, can just be, I'm not going to keep indulging people in their poor behavior, or if they want to be in a relationship with someone else or whatever, motivated and inspired by other things. I wish you peace. I'm going to keep investing in my truth. You're going to go invest in your truth. And then maybe as you move forward, you will meet some people that have went through similar life experiences like you, and they've been wondering, is anybody ever going to come up the path of life that has kind of not in this energy? I don't want to be in relationships with people who are like that anymore. And then you could come along and they're like, oh my gosh, this is like someone who I could be good friends with if it's looking for a new friendship, or this is the right type of person we needed to work here, or join this organization, or if you're single, that this is someone who I could really see me growing old with, because we are on the same page. We are high vibe. Masculine cards can just be that you really are who you say you are. You're not creating an illusion that you're a more just, fair, stable, grounded, emotionally mature person. You really are, because emotionally you are connected in, kind of in high vibe energy, balance between your more immature nature and your more aligned with truth and love. Because the card about being stressed out is kind of like Gemini energy about what your truth is. And in high vibe, it would be truth and love. Now, some of the shadowy people in the world who went on a journey probably had opportunities to move forward with more stable, grounded, loving people. No, 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 I don't want to do that. So they went on a journey, and they could have some people again who might want to be in a relationship with them, but they might have some fear of having to grow up, maybe not being just more about themselves. It would require them to put in work and effort. And right now, some of those people could be stressed out because, for a lot of reasons, they would want to maybe stay in the relationship. But if they let more of getting up in their head about all the negative things they think about it versus focusing on all the good things that could be about it, it ends up their shadowy nature kind of gets them up in their head, and they can sabotage a relationship. So let's go see what's coming up. What's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Cancer energy that they might not see coming? The Nine of Wands, the Two of Cups, the Four of Wands, and the Four of Swords, because of the Two of Cups. Well, one thing this can be saying is you've probably already been in relationships with people who some people just want to be in a relationship like to heal and rest within, more so rest within. They're not really inspired to do this work within themselves to heal and grow and mature themselves. And so it can kind of seem like this is good, let's do this. And it's just a place to kind of, it ends up feeling like a place for them to indulge themselves in because they're really maybe not interested in really putting in work and effort to keep growing and healing and maturing the relationship because that would require them to grow up and mature and work through some of their issues. And they're like, no, I'm just looking for a place to rest and indulge myself within it. And eventually people they get in relationships, whether they're male or female, some of those people are like, if you're not willing to work through some of your past pain and heartbreak and your fears and insecurities to have more hope and faith and belief and love, I could be waiting around forever and you may never do that. And I want to be in relationships with people who do that work within themselves. So I can't make you put in work and effort. The occupation card is kind of like the Eight of Pentacles of Virgo energy of doing that inner work to work through those issues within yourself that cause you maybe fear, insecurity, or defensiveness, or more about you or your ego or something. And if those people aren't willing to do that, then they're going to have some people in their life move on, just like some of you have done. And you don't want to be in relationships with people who just kind of want to, shadowy fire sign and shadowy Libra can be, I just want to be in a relationship, but it is kind of, the Nine of Wands is like this butterfly card is what's reminding me of frivolity. I just kind of want to indulge myself. This will be great. This will be good. I like you. You like me. Let's just rest within it. But let's not really give birth to anything new. And you're defensive to that. I've already been there and I've done that. If you want to go rest in a relationship or indulge yourself in a relationship, go do it with someone else. You have learned to stand up for yourself. And you have good boundaries. You're willing. Again, the Nine of Wands is like the frivolity card. You're willing to get to know other people and communicate with other people, be loving and nurturing and supportive to people, but I'm maybe not going to move forward in a more involved relationship with someone unless I think they have good boundaries within themselves to their own shadowy, immature nature and really are motivated and inspired by love and are balanced within themselves and have healed to whatever same degree that I have in a way, so that what we kind of think is just and fair of how to conduct yourself in a relationship is kind of the same because sometimes people try to confuse you about the truth of who they are, and then you find out their idea of what they think is just and fair is way different than what you think is just and fair. And you've healed. Going through this process has helped you heal your foundation, and having dealt with more immature, egotistical, stubborn people who you could have invested a lot of time and energy thinking they would do this work within themselves, and then they didn't. And realizing we can't make people heal, we can't make people deal with the truth. We can't, you could have known some people, whether they're male or female, they do operate more from their egoic nature. Could they look like very just, fair, stable, grounded, pillar of society people? Yeah, but is that the truth of who they are? No. And again, they could be looking for someone. They don't nurture their own kind of emotional nature, kind of like that's not their job. They get in relationships with people, that's their job. But so you get in a relationship with people who can be quite emotionally immature and have these immature viewpoints about what it means to be in a relationship. And it's like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that anymore. So, for the people going through this process, some people have been standing up for themselves. Some people have distanced themselves from people. Uh, Sagittarius energy is also about higher learning and education. Got inspired to offer this gift of love to yourself. Communicated to some people in your life that, you know, you don't work with me cooperatively in love and you live way too much up in your head, and I think you might got some regrets and issues from your past you might need to deal with, and I can have love for you, and if you're a friend or a family member, I can be a loving and supportive person in your life, but I'm going to kind of keep my distance from you so long as you're keep being in that energy. And I've maybe seen it over and over and over in the 9 of swords or the 8 of swords that you keep wanting to maybe be in a relationship, but of some sort, even if it's a friendship, or you're my brother or my sister or my child, right? Adult child. But you seem to have this way about you where you kind of think people should keep indulging you in your more immature or hurtful ways of being, you know? And there too, I don't want to grow old with this being the same dynamic. I am choosing, maybe you need to go get in relationships with some other people and maybe learn some lessons in life that is, if you think it's just me trying to hold you accountable for your actions, you might go out there in the world and find out there's a lot of other people who don't care to put up with your immaturity or whatever. And some people are moving on to go invest more of their time, energy, and effort into people who they feel do equally. Again, you could look at the child as nurturing a relationship that you have together. And I'm going to go spend more of my time with those people who take responsibility within themselves to work together cooperatively and nurture a relationship and hold themselves accountable for their actions. And you don't seem to do that. So, putting up some good boundaries to people like that. And I think as you're moving forward, there's going to be other people who kind of see the truth of you, and some of those people are like, hey, you're my kind of person and I'm willing to stand up and defend you, and I want to move forward with you, and I want to be in friendships or work with you or be in this organization or get together in the community because I think you're a just and fair and inspiring and loving and authentic person. I could hang out with people like that too, and I don't want to either. What's coming up for some people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Cancer energy that they might not see coming? The Six of Pentacles and the Sun, and the reason is because of the Page of Pentacles. So, the shadowy people in the Six of Pentacles is like the Hierophant card. They kind of indulge their more immature, worldly, egoic nature, and they're pretty sure living their life like that will make them happy. And some of them are more codependent and they want to be in more codependent relationships. And if some of them think that there's someone in their life that, oh my gosh, this person is willing, views life the way I view it, seems to be willing to indulge me, or is more about the ego and the image and staying in the relationship for those reasons, maybe out of their own fear or insecurity. Perfect. I'm going to move forward with those people. Well, or I'm going to keep living my life like this. I'm going to keep exchanging resources with my more immature nature. And the 6 plus the 1 equals the 7. And I view the 7s as kind of the tipping point. And when some people keep investing in their more immature nature, other people kind of become illuminated to the truth of it. And there's probably been some people in their life trying to get them to work with them and kind of tip more in favor of kind of dealing with the truth and maybe growing up and maturing themselves. But the other people keep saying, no, 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 I want to keep doing this. And some of the other people in their life are going to say, I accept the truth of it. And you're going to go do that. And I'm going to go do this. And they're going to have some of the more high vibrational people in their life. They haven't wanted to accept the truth. In the 8 or 9 of Swords, you can kind of be up in your head about wanting to accept the truth, because you maybe don't really want to distance yourself from some people. You'd like, at one time you had a good friendship, or they are a family member, or it was someone you were in a relationship with, or wanted to move more forward in a relationship. But eventually we can't keep staying in denial of the truth. When people keep showing us, this is my truth, this is how I think is just and fair, and you have your truth and it's not the same, well, that's when some people, out of love for themselves, I can't keep doing this. And and the difference between the 6 and the 1 is the 5, which can be about change. I'm going to quit trying to change people. You are who you are. You view life the way you view it. You want to live your life the way you want to live it. Everybody will experience consequences for their life choices. And I think, when we're kind of acting more out of immaturity, codependency, pride, ego, fear, whatever, I think eventually those people kind of find out they kind of went down the wrong path, that it didn't work out, because whatever it was, if it was, oh, I'm going to go find someone to love me because I haven't learned to love myself, well, they're going to find other people that are happy that they're in that energy, but then they can be kind of controlling or bossy in a relationship. Well, you're kind of codependent. You don't really know how to love yourself, and I don't think you'll ever love and believe in yourself. So basically, sometimes people will abuse that position in a person's relationship. And until they're willing to see the truth, this is Taurus, that's Leo. Some people will abuse that position. Like, same way when people have a job. Oh, I don't think you love and believe in yourself to go get another job. And then eventually it's kind of like, oh, by the way, since I think you're maybe more codependent, oh, by the way, I think I should be the more indulged person in the relationship. Or they could go get in relationships with other people, but again, the other people could grow up and heal and mature themselves, and then those people want to move on. And some of the people who want to keep being more immature, like, oh my gosh, this is how I was and how I acted when I was 21 and 25, and I could always find people to stay in a relationship with me. It's like, yeah, but by the time you get to be 35, 45, 55, 65, and they're the same twit that they were back then, it can be harder to find someone who's willing to put up with your ass, right? And some of those people keep not wanting to see the truth. And then it's like, shit, now I got to go find someone else to go indulge me in a relationship. And they'll probably go try to find someone else to indulge them in a relationship. And just some people, again, are more about ego or image and status or money, and they're in relationships with loving people, they might not believe that they can manifest those things into reality. So again, instead of aligning and investing in their unique talent, skills, and interests, and having some hope and faith and belief that kind of the divine works with you to help you manifest these things, but it takes time. And some people, I want what I want, and I want it now. So then some of those people, again, could be tempted. Well, I don't know if this is going to get me what I want. Could I love these people, like to stay in a relationship with them? Yeah, but I don't know if we'll have enough of the status or the image or the money. And for me, that's kind of the most important thing. So they had the opportunity to invest in truth and love, but they're always more tempted in their more worldly nature, or to be indulge nature, and they leave some loving people out in the cold, and then they go try to make it work. But, it's kind of like being tempted by the devil. The devil kind of represents when we make these things of the world too important. Do we all want stability and security and some status and enjoy some of the finer things in life? Yes, but it has to be done in a just and fair and balanced way. And some people are like, no, I'm willing to sacrifice love. I don't think love's that important anyway. I basically just kind of have sex with people anyway because maybe they're not a very deep, meaningful person. So they think, what the hell? I'll just go get in a relationship with and have sex with, male or female, with whoever's got those things in the world that I want. And some of those people are going to go get in relationships when a card is in reverse. It can mean those people even have more issues to work through than they have. And then they're trying to get that person to move forward in a more, at least to be on the same whatever level of emotional maturity they're at. And the other people are like, so it's kind of mirrored back to them. And some of the people they could really want to be in a relationship with for certain reasons, those people are less mature than them. And then the shoe's kind of on the other foot, right? And they're trying to get that person. It's like, damn, I don't know if I can stay in a relationship with this person if they keep acting like this. But they could really want to be in a relationship with someone who has those things of the world. And some of those people could be really stressed out because they really want those things. And they could have other people, even their own loving nature, trying to get them to quit letting those things manipulate them so much, get out of their fear. Some people have more than plenty, more than enough, more than a lot of other people. But it's either they have a big fear about it, or the ego or the image or the status and wanting to keep up with other people, that it's kind of becomes like an addiction. And I think also as time goes by, it becomes illuminated who gets in relationships more for the status, the ego, the image, the codependency, the fear, the insecurity, the pride, the ego, and who's in relationships with people that are these more just and fair and balanced and loving relationships. And then people kind of decide who they kind of want to hang out with and visit with. If I think some people are more immature and it's more like, oh my gosh, and look at us, and blah, 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 some other people might not really like to hang out with them. They might have status and image, but they'd rather, even if the other people don't, because it really doesn't matter what the extent of, like, well, how much money do you have? And, well, what, for some people it does. But for a lot of people, I just want to hang around people who are authentic and you can get along with them and, learn new things from each other. And other people can be much more stuffy, if you go in that direction. But there you go, Cancer. I think high vibe people are communicating their truth with other people in their life who are high vibe. If some of those people that they thought were more on the same page as them aren't, they're going to work and keep moving forward with the people in their life who are communicating to some of the immature people in their life that, what, I think I'm going to focus more of my attention over here, and maybe you could go focus on some other people. And also have cut out some people in your life who didn't work, that you already know don't work together with people cooperatively from love. And you're going to have these new beginnings in the King of Pentacles, the King of Swords, either in job, careers, or friendships. And eventually it will all be illuminated what people were more driven and motivated by the fruits that they bear. So there you go, Cancer. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.